snuck out.
I'll do it.
I got a question for Drew. I think would be a good answer for this. You, as a social game master, and I can tell by the way you talk that you probably engage with players a whole lot, and you play with new players. Have you found a way to encourage people to role play for the first time without putting them on the spot?
That's a good question.
I try to involve as many, and this kind of can go for DMs who are concerned with having too many battles and what experience can just go for fighting. A lot of role-playing aspects can be saying, awesome, well, you need supplies. You need to go out in town. You need to go find this specific shop. And you're like, oh, well, I got my armor. Okay, cool. Well, now you need a weapon. Go find the smithy. You need to go find, trail rations. What do you need as your character? What did you say that you purchased? Cool, now you need to actually go and find it. Are you a cleric? Do you need to go to an actual temple? Well, maybe this town doesn't have a temple for you. I also, as cliche as it is, I can have everyone say, hey, you meet in a tavern. Or normally I always ask the players, I say, do you guys want to know each other right off the bat, or do you not? And a lot of people say, yeah, let's know each other. I would say that we already have come back from an adventure. That'd be really good. But for the players who say, we don't know each other, maybe like just the two of us know each other, but we don't know anyone else. Well, then that's even more role-playing aspects that you can add to the game, where they have to get to know the characters inside the game, as well as other NPCs. And that can be the entire first session. That can be the first 3 hours that you play. It doesn't even have to be even starting anywhere near the adventure. It can purely be for character development, and even from there, it can kind of bridge into the story. But it doesn't necessarily have to start off with what you have originally planned. If they're going to sit back and be kind of like a wallflower, I think it's one to do it for a role-playing aspect, but I would also try to, again, guide them, inch different instances for them to take part in. Because if they're going to sit back and not do anything, not necessarily respond to anyone in the party, again, it can be okay for character development for them, but the rest of the party might get miffed. They're what is this person doing? They haven't done anything. They haven't fought in any fights. They sit back. The DM can encourage, saying, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to fight? I'm going to sit back. All right, well, what about your wolf? She's going to sit here and protect me. All right. Well, that's happened for 3 rounds. You see your fighter, he's dying. So
The problem I have, I've a couple of new players that are just starting. If I'm playing with people I know, like Brian or Dave here, we can start riffing, we can bounce stuff off each other, we can role play. But then a new player also, he'll approach some old man, and the old man will say yes, and I put it on, what do you say? People don't know how to role play a lot of times, and they'll just kind of deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
How do you? I don't know how to de-escalate the tension of that. I end up just saying, okay, you tell him what you need, and he gives it to you.
Yeah, I think you can just treat it as if you're talking to a real person. I think they try to overthink the fact that I'm in a tavern. I need to walk up and go, hey, barkeep, give me that drink, and where's your finest wench? You don't have to get into the actual characters. One time they can just talk like themselves.
That makes it easier.
I had a person sitting, and she wasn't really playing, but they were in a tavern. And so since everyone else was actually off hustling a game of darts, I had another person approach them who was completely drunk and be like, who's your friend? She's cute. I'm going to go chat. Shh. I'm going to go talk to your friend. And you just send a random NPC and just see what they do. And if they get uncomfortable with that, then that's fine. But she didn't necessarily respond to the drunk guy. But after that was over and he left, she did go to the party and go, dude, this guy just tried to hit on me. and it got them in. It got them into the game.
Yeah.
So different things can be fun. When I was at Bakersfield College years ago, taking a creative writing class, one of the things they said were, if you're stuck in a story, bring in a guy with a chainsaw. But I wouldn't say bring in a chainsaw. But it's more to the rule of always keep them guessing, keep something unexpected. You don't want that cliche aspect to get overused. So if they're going to sit back and just kind of just watch as everything passes by, again, it's great for a while, but it shouldn't be a habitual thing.
And if you get them surrounded by people intently role-playing, it can slowly people get used to it after session.
Yeah.
Mike Stewart started gaming with him in high school. He would lay on the couch, put his hat over his head, wake me when there's a battle. 4 years of playing with role players, finally got that guy role playing. It took a while, but
He was good at it.
he got good at it. Yeah. So sometimes being immersed, and that's why I like having it. And sometimes I'll forget to role. When I play with other people who don't role play, I stop role playing, and I go, oh shoot, I got to get back into people that are into role playing, and then everyone starts to do it. It becomes like a group thing. It's just everyone starts to play off of each other.
Also, the more that you know of your characters, or your players' characters, if they can give you any type of background information, you can run with that. Something that I forgot to actually give to you to put on the flash drive. But I'll put it onto the 5th edition D&D Facebook page, which if you either know Brian,
if you're
not part of that, you can join and I'll upload it there. A good friend of Brian and I is his name is Ed French. He created what was called the Dreaded 20 Questions. And the Dreaded 20 Questions was purely for character building, and it's purely for character background. And it asked, like, what's your name, where are you born, what's your age, etc. And, who are your 3 closest friends, who are your 3 dreaded enemies, what's your worst fear, what's your friend's worst fear, what is your ultimate goal in life, what happens if you don't accomplish this goal. And these can be things that you finally get, your player's backstory, and it's just endless amounts of detail that you can add into the game.
You create a background without even knowing you were about to create a background.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I played with the DM here recently in a Skull and Shackles Paladin game, and before every session started, he had a chart. He'd roll on a chart, he'd ask us questions. And it was stuff like, what was your favorite pet? Stuff like that. That's easy stuff to answer, but it gets them thinking about, it gets the party, you have to get them to thinking about their character more. That gets them.
It's an icebreaker into their
It breaks the ice too, because you get players that haven't played with each other. And at first, we hadn't played all together either. This party that I was playing in, and it's that weird. You get that really weird feeling we don't know these people. But as you start answering those questions every session, you become more comfortable, and you know things about their characters and stuff, and it just you get more into it.
I think too, kind of what you're playing on is just dealing with a basic social situation that is, I don't want to look stupid and screw this up.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know you guys. You guys are a bunch of gamers, but I don't want to be made fun of by gamers of all people. I'll go home and shoot myself after that. So, what I think I think Brian's good at this in the games I play with him, is that if you have a new person who's completely out of your social circle, doesn't know, who's gaming the first time, you can set the tone by just talking to guys. Hey, got a new guy coming in. He doesn't know if you've played before.
Right.
And so we'll try to tone down the. Remember that time when we were doing ha ha ha? That was so fun. You weren't there, so you sucked. Anyway, so you kind of tone down that, or when we're saying something that's a little obscure that they don't know, you go, what he's talking about is, well, he's actually kind of half retarded, but you kind of let them in on the game, so that it breaks a lot of those ice. And then it depends on what kind of game you're running. If you're someone who really got a bunch of guys who are really gamers in the sense of they role play it out, they got the accent. Like I can do an American accent. That's about it. I can sound like I said. I can sound like I rolled 3 ones on my intelligence, but that's about as good as mine. But other than that, I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
That's not a skill. So when I go in and try and do the Tarwin Wench, I sound like an idiot. So I'll just kind of do my own thing. But depending on what you have, when you're doing, like you said, I like his idea with the NPC. At the NPC, you're setting a tone for what your game is like. If you have other people start off the game and they're kind of watching, oh, I see how you guys are doing this. Okay, so I don't feel so weird about it.
Yes. Let everybody else throw themselves onto the altar of role playing, so that they're like, oh, okay,
This is okay.
We're always going to make fun of you, Dave. That's one, yeah.
I think every DM runs into this, and as a new DM, I'm still trying to figure out how to do it, but reining your characters in.
I don't.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
Well, what I mean is, like, you know, you're in the middle of a combat, and then just one of your players just all of a sudden, oh, did you watch that new episode today?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's
Oh, I
what
see.
I mean.
Getting off
Squirt bottle.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And it totally depends.
Tangents.
I warn people,
Yeah.
stay in character. We only have a finite amount of time, and all of us have got jobs, and we have, you know, we had to make deals with spouses and work and schedule changes to be here. Let's be here
Yeah.
and do this.
And that's rough sometimes because with electronics and things, and a lot of times there's apps and stuff you're using in-game when you're running it, PDFs or whatever. Yeah, you have to really just set your rules for it, really. You have to, you know, because they'll just, the guy's over there texting and he's just on Facebook and he's not nothing with the game, and you're like, it just brings the game down. You just have to set the rules for it.
If you throw out down your game at 5 o'clock and tell everybody come at 4,
That's
give yourself an hour worth
We always do the
time.
the hour of
It's good
socializing.
because
Yeah.
yes,
Grab out.
because sometimes
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
only once a week you get to rehash your life with these people.
Yeah.
Plan an extra BS time.
Yeah, we always allow that right at the start. We always just kind of,
Always.
One other thing to throw into that is, as a teacher, former teacher myself, you can get mad at that to a point. But if you look up and you see everybody sitting there doing this and stuff, like Taylor Swift, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
right,
the problem.
right, exactly.
Right? And so all of a sudden you're looking around and everybody's not engaged. Maybe I kind of suck as a DM and I need to kind of up the game a little bit. Because
And that's why I'm here. And I have realized that, you know, there's been a little bit of lacking in.
But that's key too. Because that's key for like
You gotta
party
scale
style.
up from water to
Vinegar.
lemon
Okay,
juice
we'll
to
go.
Drano.
I'm serious about this.
Yeah, and also your environment.
Yeah.
Where you run your game says a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Yeah,
several
definitely.
times there's different people I've gamed with that want a TV on in the background. That is so jarring to me
Yeah.
that I might as well not be playing it. I can't
Pets.
listen to A-Team in the background because I
Cats
wanted
fun.
to feel like, oh, it's an old school episode I want to watch. But no, we're here to this.
Well, one of my rules is no cell phones.
Yeah.
And, you know, I try to keep the electronic media to me doing DMD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rules help. I had to have a rule for no magic. Because I gamed when Magic first came out. And
Yep.
many Magic games have breaking out when they're not involved in the game.
Oh yeah.
And I had to make a rule that if I see Magic cards brought into the game session, you lost XP right there. I don't want to see a card. I don't want to hear you talk about it. You know, so there's always something new that distracts people. You just got to kind of learn what it is and how to best deal with it. With every group, it's going to be a little different. But
Right.
choose an environment that's also non-distracting or causes a focus on the event. Any other questions?
Yep.
All right. Anything else? guys?
Awarding magic items.
Yeah.
How would you?
They
Carefully.
find
Very
them.
limited.
They
Yeah.
find them. They don't. I don't do handouts.
Yeah,
They're not
earn them.
nothing. If it's everywhere, it's nothing,
Yeah.
right? You know, if the streets are paved with gold, what is the value of gold? So something's only worthwhile if it's rare and hard to come by, which is why I've decided in my games I make exceptionally crafted items hard to find. And so for me, it's just like, man, I plate mail armor. It's so expensive, it's hard to come by. I've had parties go, woohoo! What happened? We found plate mail! We're rocking! You bring down the tone. And it's one thing I don't like about Pathfinder. I like Pathfinder, but I don't like how they've written the level of equipment. Everybody and their mother's got 8 masterwork items. And that's at first level. Every module is written like that. You just gear, the accumulation of gear is something. And I don't think that needs to be the game. Now, people like to find cool stuff. I just brought down what's cool. So for my game, sometimes it's just nice equipment is cool and hard to find. And that itself becomes a reward. They stop worrying about finding a +5 weapon because they found a +1 really cool made sword from a great, weapon crafter of long ago, and it's got some story and history to it. It's just a +1 hit, and that's all there ever is to this sword. But now this guy's like, this is so cool. I'm so happy I have this.
Going off of that, I like to give like items that you can use once and then they're gone. Is that? I don't have. I mean, they still have all these magic items that they're carrying around, but they're only like 1 use or 2 use or something.
Yeah.
That's a way to give something that it won't be around.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It makes it special. It's like, I'm only going to use this unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
But in general, it's good to not beat any target to death with a rock. And so you don't want the party to know it's coming, like, oh, it's another one-use item. Do any stick that you got, try to mix it up with other sticks. Don't just throw the same thing at them. Because then if they're expected, then they start to come, it's like, man, if you like steak is awesome. But if you eat steak every day, all day, it's not so awesome.
No, there's steak.
Steak again. So mix it up with other ideas. Maybe even items that have a use only at night.
Oh, yeah.
And writing an ongoing story. That's one thing. Like modules for me, I know are only going to go so far.
Yep.
So my big thing is I write, but I normally get a beginning, or I'll get the end. But but if I get the end, I can never get the beginning or middle. And if I get the beginning, I can never get the middle or end.
It's really rough to plan ahead that far. It's very aggravating also when you start doing that. Like my first adventure, I thought I could get the beginning, middle, and end down perfectly, but that clearly was not the case. So I learned early on to just get your foundation going and just let your players write it from there. And who knows, if you've written and made this world like you intended to, they might get to your end that you expect could be completely different.
That's what's cool about it. Like in my campaign, it was I didn't write it. I had a general idea that I have ongoing NPCs that are recurring NPCs, and no matter what I'm running, those happen all because of players. Things, epic situations that happen. That's how you write your story. They happen. They become talking points, forever.
Okay.
And that becomes part of your story, and you can build on that.
I also don't think it's realistic either to do it that way. I mean, I'm agreeing with you guys because you look at George R. R. Martin or Robert Jordan. They even said when they wrote their epic, they had an idea like I'm starting in Los Angeles. I know I want to get to New York.
Yeah.
They had no idea
Yeah.
the path how it was going to go. And even Martin still to this day says I don't
he's not
exactly know how it's going to. I know I'm going to get to this point. I mean, and these guys are pros. We're not.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and the other cool thing is we have help, like you said, along the way. You have your players who are
Feeding
bringing
you
buffet.
Like,
and
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to
Absolutely.
write it for
Oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
They will
they'll write it.
help you write it.
That's the fun,
don't worry about
fun
that.
part.
And if you want to take like baby steps into how to incorporate and connect and continue the adventure, I mean, you can take readily made modules, and then let's say there's another module that's perfectly at the next level to advance them. So if you have one, like take Sun of the Citadel for example, and that's 1 to 3, and then after Sun of the Citadel, technically you could have them go into the Forge of Fury, which is 3 to 5. There, I read online, some guy took from the Sun of the Citadel, he said, certain goblins and orcs escaped from the Sun of the Citadel. They actually bypassed you within the tunnels, and they escaped from the Citadel, went back to Oakhurst, actually killed everyone there in retaliation for their home being, taken over, burned to the ground, and then vacated themselves off to the Forge of Fury, where they know another clan of orcs have already taken over the Dwarven stronghold. And so when the players leave the Sun of the Citadel and they go back to Oakhurst and they see that everyone is dead, but like maybe a lone survivor is like, orcs, bad way. And you know that you can now have some kind of mini write-up that is your own, but you're still connecting an adventure. You're continuing what is happening. So, I mean, you don't have to... I mean, I'm the same way. I have a multitude of ideas. I can have a beginning and an end, but damned if I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I try to do a rough plan, just so I know where I'm going to go. But
Outlines
I'm
are
so
fun.
not hooked on anything, because I started my campaign with Tyranny of Dragons, Horde of the Drag Queen. I think it's the most abysmal module ever written. I didn't like
It's
it.
rough.
But I'm not having fun with this. No one else really having too much fun. So I'm like, I'm switching up. At a certain point where it didn't have to follow the storyline, what I still know, I still have the events of that module taking place in the background. It's still going on. The party's no longer following it. They went off, they went back home, they did things, and now they're in. I'm running them A1 through A4, first edition Slaver series. And so I've decided to follow the guy's post on InWorld, great website for gaming. InWorld.org. ENWORLD. InWorld.org. So he mentioned how he put in the Forgotten World and Forgotten Realms all the great classic series. .org. And so I'm planning right now to run the Slaver series. Then it's going to go the A. Then it's going to go into the Giant series, G. Then I'm going to run D. Then I'm going to run Q. I'm planning my game from 1st to 25th level. And I have it's probably not going to make it. They probably won't make it through the A series. But this is my rough draft, and I'm ready for it to switch off, because after this, if they get back home, new things may develop.
So like you were saying earlier, take all the BS out and make the ones that are good better.
Right.
Yes.
That's exactly. And I'm loving it. And I'm taking, since I put it in the Forgotten Realms, I'm finding what region of the Forgotten Realms matches the region they're talking about in this modules. And I happen to know a lot of Realms lore because I've ran games there for 30 years. So then I go, ooh, there happens to be this place in this location. I'm going to tie this into that. And I've got a module based on that. Then I go reach out this module. So now I've interjected another module in between these two modules because it fits right into the area. It'll be a great encounter. So what would normally be this encounter is orcs. No, it's the orc stronghold of whatchamacallit in this module, and I've got a lot more detail to flesh out that. So when it's done, I may use 30 published modules to make my campaign with a whole bunch of homebrew stuff mixed in, and then add on top of that what the party wanted to do. And it becomes one big thing. But I'm not, when I sat down to start my game, I just said, make your characters Forgotten Realms. We're going to start with the Dragon King, we start here. Actually I started with Mind of Fandel, that's where I started it.
Yeah, that's where
And then I led into the Horde of Dragon. So
that's what I'm doing.
I didn't care though where it would go. And as I played, I changed where I want it to go. But I don't have my heart set on it.
And really that's steeped in realism because, raise your hand if your plans when you were 15 are the same as they are now that you're 30 something.
Yeah.
What do you make us cry?
Yeah.
Get a therapy session after that question.
I didn't want to be here.
And the players will appreciate you riding that wave
Yeah.
of being able to tailor their own character because of the actions they have taken.
Right.
And that kind of gets into the inexperienced role player. Non-combat action is a great way to lead someone into role play that they didn't realize they were even going to do. Yeah. You're walking down the street and all of a sudden the lost dog comes up. Their whole reaction to that is going to get them going along in that when it's not necessarily their speech that's role playing, it's their actions.
Yeah.
And then when they find that out, where the role play is going to come out naturally.
So are you saying
Talking about changing direction, that is unfortunately what the new dungeon master has to deal with is you've got to get experience in different situations. And that's where modules do come in handy.
Yeah.
You can read them all you want, but in the end, they're out the window.
Absolutely.
End game is all that's, because see, we can all still be on the same goal we were working towards, like I wanted to be a lawyer. So it may be I didn't do it in the first 7 years or whatever, and 20 years later I'm finally doing it, and that path along the way determines that character. Well, for anybody.
It's safe to say that there's a difference between being a role player, R-O-L-E, versus R-O-L-L.
Oh, there definitely is. I don't play ROL.
But yeah, I prefer my games to be more story-oriented.
And we all know the rules are only there to resolve conflict.
Right, exactly. That's it.
So, and that's what I love about 5th edition D&D. Look at how they didn't make it simple, they made it streamlined.
Right.
And they made it the goal orientation of the story.
Yeah.
I love Pathfinder too, because I love, I can love putting a ton of rules in there, and that's what you're doing in the beginning. I'm going to run a rules-heavy game. We're going to min-max all day long, because you know what Pathfinder says, I can add character levels to monsters now.
Yeah.
So, that orc is a 20th level monk. What happened? You can play that so hardcore, but it takes a little bit away, because if you're not able to answer why that orc is 20th level, you got no value there.
Yeah.
But if you can say, well, he was this and this, and give the whole backstory, your gold D&D does allow for that.
Yeah, and with the rules, use the rules. Don't let the rules use you.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's well said.
Don't be held bound by them, especially if they don't make sense in a certain situation.
Yeah.
Because remember, The rules are written by fallible people with good intentions. Sometimes it just may not fit, especially for you.
And that's why, like, and that's what I like about the DMGs. Almost all the time, it says, "These are just here for you.
Right.
This is the back."
Just guidelines.
Yeah.
Well,
And don't
they're
let
holding the torch
players.
for that now for D&D.
Yeah, don't let players go, well, it's in the book.
Yeah.
I say, well, if it's in a book, let me go grab a whole bunch of books. I've got a lot of things in them.
Yeah.
It means nothing. The book is all it is here, we put some stuff together for you to make it easier for you to go. But it all comes back to it's whatever you want to do. But there's a caveat. Let the players know what you're working on.
Yeah.
If you change something, let them know of the change. It's
Like you're
only
saying at the
fair.
beginning, let them know.
Let them know. Because everyone's base assumption is it's in the book.
Mhm.
So if you do what I do and say monks, barbarians, and bards are out the door, let them know. Because I just don't like them. They're silly. There's reasons for it.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
they don't work for me. I just let everybody know. I go, but I also do allow this, this, and this instead, and here's reasons why.
All right.
Any other questions? I can talk all day.
Yeah, we,
I know,
yeah,
it's-
just started.
Is there a way to run a workable Monty Hall campaign?
No.
You answered your own
Hold on.
question.
Yeah.
Hold on. It involves beer and pretzels.
Yeah.
That is,
then, yes.
that's the best start.
If you step in and go, you know what? Let's have a wacky weekend of Monty Hall gaming, and that's your objective. Then you know what? That would be fun and sign me up.
I've had a hell of fun playing Munchkin.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what it is.
It
It's
must be,
Munchkin
yeah.
with dice.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and so you know that going in, you have
I was
fun.
gonna say that there's one of the more enjoyable campaigns I ever was involved in. We never got very high level, but the treasure was equipment. I mean, just normal equipment. You know, it was very, very, very character oriented, and you know, if you found arrows or you found equipment or you found food, you were doing well. And it all has to do with the scale of what you're playing. Now you don't want to be third level and playing a game like that, or fourth level. This was first edition D&D or whatever the hell it was. You know. So anyway, but you don't want to drop people that are playing that game into the middle of a Monty Hall game, and they're just going to get destroyed.
Right.
You know, but if you balance everything out, then it's okay. You can do it. The thing is, you can do whatever you damn well please.
Yeah.
As long as you keep it in scale, because if you dick people around too much, they're just going to leave.
Right. Yeah, that reminds me of an adventure where our party was somewhere up north, we forgot mountains in the Arctic, and we jumped into an icy river, and we finally crawled out into some underground caverns, and our equipment was washed away, we had nothing, we had no clothes, it was wet, take our armor off, or we're going to die of hypothermia. We had to deal with issues players normally don't deal with. And DMs, like, we're all like, why would you do this to us? And so we had nothing. We're running around nude in a dungeon trying to find things. We found an old bedpost, part of an old bed that we broke off. I'm like, I've got a club. I've got a weapon now. I was happy. And then in one room later, there's a cloak on a wall. Oh, man, I'm going to be warm now. So I grabbed that cloak and put it on. I'm like, hey, guys. And I find out that was a cloaker. And it was an unfortunate dungeon experience as the party tried to beat me to death trying to get it off of me. You know, and it was we were now faced with situations adventurers normally don't. We were just trying to survive, trying to find food, clothing, weapons, just to get out of a dungeon that we never intended to be in. We had no control of the situation. And I got to play that in high school. It's one of my best memories. I love that campaign.
All right. Is that it?
Now, if you guys have any suggestions,
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry. Any suggestions? Anything else you want to learn or want to know? We're going to be doing more of these and probably get them to basic, intermediate, advanced versions, maybe seminar-like or panel-like. We're not sure, but we want input from everybody here. What more do you want? Was this useful for you? Was it not? What did you like? What did you not like? And what would you like to see more of?
Absolutely. And just to throw it out there too, I didn't mention it at the start. This is being co-sponsored by the Gaming Spot in Rosedale and us. So Jared was unfortunately had to go out of town, so he wasn't here. But I just wanted to plug that also. So.
Good story.
Yeah, we're here.
So, all right. So we got some stuff to give out here. Some info.
And we will be here for BSing afterwards because that's what you do with gaming.
Yes,
A
absolutely.
lot of storytelling.
Oh, yes.
Autograph session?
I'll sign whatever you want me to sign.
Yeah, I know.
Bring your books up.
Brienne Miars.
I'm gonna sell this for hundreds of dollars in a couple of years.
You need to really watch what you say with these people. I am their DM, don't.
Even millionaire.
Our team on adventure alone was scary.
How is that scary? We got a
I know.
one.
Make sure I got enough.
Yeah.
I should make some more real quick. Yeah.
Are you talking about Fendon?
I can make some.
You alive there?
Make
Okay.
some-
I get a nice just full dinner.
It's a pleasure cruise.
Dude.
Yes, don't forget you
I
can.
will be around Tuesday.
I'll be there once I
Neither will I.
Okay, that's right, you're going to.
I will be in Vegas,
That's right.
drinking much.